All right, we'll call to order Safety and Public Works, the City of Brainerd. It is December 16th, 2024, 7 p.m. in council chambers. We have 5 items. First item is awarding of the proposal for ash tree removal. And I believe this is Mike Habekorst, Public Works Director.
Yes, thank you. We found out that this is not a prevailing wage project. It's a number of factors. There's no grading and it doesn't meet the threshold. So this was sort of an easy decision for us, just to picking the low bid. And yeah, we're just asking for a recommendation to move forward with this proposal for the low bid. $8,500 is his total, ranging from $85,000 to $13,500. So yeah, we're recommending the low bid, please.
Thank you. So recommendation is to award the proposal to Tunyon Tree Service LLC in the amount of $8,500.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any more discussion?
How many trees is this cover?
What's that?
How many trees is this cover about?
14.
14.
Yep.
14 of the bigger ones that our staff is not equipped to
Okay.
take out, I believe.
The
Right?
big ones.
The big ones. All right, any more discussion? Hearing none, go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 2, we have a resolution supporting some grant applications. Actually, it looks like 4 different resolutions, if I remember right.
Correct.
And again, this is Public Works Director Mike Habekorst.
Yeah, so we want to apply for 4 different grants, 1 or 3 of them for the Lum Park pedestrian bridge, and then 1 for the Oak Street reconstruction. And yeah, we're just looking for a recommendation to adopt this so that we can move forward and get some money on those projects.
Can you remind me of the local share on any or all of these? I know I read,
Right.
not recalling it.
Yeah, so there's, for the 3 for the Lum Park, it's a carbon reduction program, that's for $1 million. Active transportation for another $1 million, and then transportation alternatives for
Yeah,
$800,000.
What's the local share on any or all?
Oh, yes, Jesse can fill in on that.
So the 2 federal ones, so the CRP and the TA, those are the 2 federal ones. Those are require an 80-20 federal match. The AT is the state-funded one. They don't require the federal match. And the state transportation block grant program, that's also a federal funded project, so that would have a grant match as well. However, that one far exceeds the cost, or the cost far exceeds the 1.25 that we're recommending for the grant. So we would exceed that match requirement.
Oh, okay, I didn't understand the last part there.
The amount of that project would exceed the grant match that our
80-20
requirement,
or
yeah,
whatever it might
80-20, correct.
So the total on that project, the grant is for 1.25 million, but the total on that project is much higher than, say, 1.5 or 2 for rebuilding Oak Street.
So if we were awarded all 3 of these grants, we'd be paying far more than $600,000.
For the Lum Park pedestrian bridge, I believe the 80-20 on the million would be 200,000, 80-20 on the 800,000 would be somewhere around,
Okay, 150.
60.
somewhere in there.
Okay. So then that's 350, and then what's the other one? Still not understanding what you're saying there. Is
It's for 1.25 million towards the project of the Oak Street reconstruction. Otherwise, we'd be using our own funds. So the 1.25 million would be federal funds, but yeah, there would be a required grant match, but we would
okay, so what's the percentage? 20% on that?
80-20.
Yep.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. So these will be 4 different resolutions, but for this motion, we don't need 4
Move to
different.
approve all 4.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 3, we have a Transit Americans with Disabilities Act policy plan. Again, this is Public Works Director Mike Habekorst.
Yes, this is we look at this, the federal government just reminds us of the new ADA policy, and sometimes they add a few things on there. Crystal is on this. I don't know any very specific things that we've had to do, but she's reviewing this to make sure, but we just need to adopt this into our policy and move forward with it. Again, there's not, we haven't reviewed this with TAC just because we We were just in a major transition. We couldn't meet on our last quarterly meeting, but this will be on the agenda for the first quarter of the new year, and we'll be reviewing that with them also. We just had to get this approved of from the council by the end of the year.
I'm trying to remember, this is an annual approval that we have to do,
Correct.
so it probably hasn't changed much in a year.
I didn't read the, the 80 pages, but Crystal is on it, and she's going to be reviewing it to make sure that there's nothing glaring that we need to adopt.
Thank you.
And we have to approve that before it goes to TAC because the deadline is when?
The 18th of
All
this
right.
month.
And we still won't have met by then.
What's that?
On TAC, okay.
Yeah.
So if TAC does meet early in the year and they, they find something they want to,
That
excuse
will,
me, change on it.
either way, we have to adopt
Move to
it.
approve, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 4, we have a Public Utilities Department bid rejection for the water reclamation backwash building. This is for Public Works, or Public Utilities Director, Chris Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the commission meeting on November 26, 2024, commission voted to reject all bids for the water reclamation tank and backwash project. The project was budgeted for $6.5 million, and the lowest bid received was just over $10.3 million. During the budget process, the commission voted to reject all bids. Bolton and Mink requests council action to ratify the commission's vote. This project is a $5 million Minnesota direct appropriation that requires a contract by December 31st, 2027. BPU will continue to pursue additional funding and has postponed the project, but it is still budgeted for 2027. Staff recommends council to concur with the recommendation and the decision of commission authorizing the Public Utilities Department to reject all bids for this project.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Chesak.
Mr. Evans, this is asking for council or Bolton and Mink is because it's the appropriation that we received. Is that specifically why we're asked to? Because generally speaking, the council doesn't have to approve rejection of bids by the commission. Would that be a fair statement?
My understanding is it's twofold. One, that it's an appropriation, but also that we're rejecting all bids instead of just going with a low bid.
Okay.
That was gonna be my question too, so.
Well, so if there was no grant money or appropriation involved here, and we were going to reject any bids that the commission received, or the commission rejected all bids in a different circumstance, do you know if that would require council then also to reject the bids or give authority to the commission to do that?
That's a very good question. Thank you for that. Again, trying to look back at prior minutes and prior practice, this seems to be the first time for this, so.
Yeah, I don't have any problem doing this. I just wanted to see if there's something nuanced about this other than the appropriation that, because generally speaking, I think commission, if they so choose and want to reject all bids for any project, they have the authority without, I don't know, do you ever recall having to?
I don't recall ever having to do it. I
think that's-
a little confused on it too, but,
Nick has.
oh, yep, Mr. Broyles.
Just a comment. I do agree. I don't think that this probably needs to come before council next time. So I'll own this. I think there was a little bit of confusion with this one, but I agree with Mr. Chesak, and I think I agree with Mr. O'Day, if you're thinking the same thing, and all of you as well, that these, if they reject it, does not need to come before council. That'd be my recommendation.
Yeah, at the same time, I think it's good communication between everybody, because this was not grant money, this was actually, state bonding funds that came through. So it's good that we're all on the same page and looking at this and seeing we're almost $4 million short. So obviously something needs to be done, so, moving into next year, hopefully we can figure that out.
I'd move to grant authority to the Public Utilities Commission to reject all bids for this.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, in our final item, we have a approval of the 10-year capital improvement plan for 2025 through 2034. Presenter on this one is Public Works Director Jesse Dean. Or should I say
yes.
City Engineer?
Yes. Jesse's going to take this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we attached the 10-year CIP report for the council's consideration. We're recommending approval as presented here. As stated in the agenda item, most of this is similar to what was presented to the council back in June as part of the workshop, the capital budget workshop. I did list a handful of kind of the changes that we've incorporated since that time. Some of the projects like the Safe Routes project that we were awarded grant funds since then with the Lowell project. So including that in there. Some of the changes since then. 15th Rosewood Alley Water Main and Sewer. It is funded because that was approved in 2024. However, the contractor wasn't able, because of how late the PUC did get this approval, contractor wasn't able to secure their materials in time to get it constructed before the season ended. So we're going to plan for that in construction in 2025. So I just wanted to reflect that just to show how, all the different projects that we are planning to do. And then the other one I wanted to highlight out of the list was the Evergreen Storm Sewer Outfall Repair Project. We did reference this a little bit with the sanitary sewer repair that we were doing up by the cemetery nearby Bick. And part of that is doing more of a permanent repair of that storm sewer outfall to kind of prevent future erosion next to that sanitary sewer main. So we did identify a dollar amount in a project there. We just plugged that into 2025. Really, we're looking for kind of council input on if that should stay in 2025 or if that should slide anywhere else. Like I said, we're putting it in 2025 to do that repair. We can move it, just knowing that, understanding as time goes, the longer we don't do that repair, the more we have to continue to come back and do repair and maintenance next to that sanitary sewer main. So just keep that in mind, depending on whichever way we go with that. But I did include that with the 2025 plan. Although, the other part of that is the fund is also in not as good a shape with the storm sewer fund as kind of presented at the last storm sewer rate study. So with that, again, the 10-year report is before you with those handful of changes, and staff is recommending approval as it's presented and looks for some direction and recommendation from the council.
Thank you. I just have a question on the alley repairs that we weren't able to approve in time or get materials. If there's a major failure during the winter months, are we able to still make that repair? And is that going to add to the cost of that repair if that were to happen?
If that were to happen, yes, it would add to the cost because you're digging through frozen ground. It would slow down the progress, so it would cost a little bit more for that excavation work. We're pretty confident that we should be in good shape for the winter. There is a level of risk, but we're pretty confident it should last through the winter.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I look at this, the alley over there on Rosewood Quince 15th, that was brought to us originally without the water. And I was thrilled to see when water was at it when it came back, because we asked for more information and then water came back. So I dare say if it wasn't there to begin with, there may have been a lack of communication from one side or the other, but hopefully I've had some conversation with our Public Works Director, Mr. Habekorst, and I think that some of these things will be limited if they perhaps won't be occurring in the future. And I just wanted to say that I'm really glad, Mr. Habekorst, we have it, the East River Road project, the 27-inch, is called an interceptor and not a force main, which I was really getting bent over that. And I'm glad that's cleaned up and it stays that way, as what it is an interceptor, not a force main. So one thing I would say is I don't see a lot, except on a couple of projects where we have sanitary sewer included over these 10 years. I know there's a couple of projects. I know there's some with very limited. Again, I don't know what's under the streets. That's our staff's job to know that and to let us know when there's a problem. And if they're doing projects that don't include sanitary sewer, I'm just going to trust that what is below that pavement is in good shape. Otherwise, if we have to come back and tear something up that we put down new because something fails, I'll be barking. So that's all I have.
Thank you. All right. I will say about the evergreen fallout, I think that it is important to get that done next year. Having looked at it myself, I can see that erosion issue is just going to come back quickly. So the faster we get on that in the spring, the better. Mr. Happagorst?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just want to indicate that BPU and us on the other side are meeting on a regular basis to get a construction game plan together, not necessarily just on what needs to be done, but how literally both agencies work with contractors and so forth. So this meeting, or today, we met and it seemed to get some type of structure moving forward. So I'm really optimistic about that. And hopefully when we come back, we are just one unified team and moving forward with all of our projects. So that's the overall goal. And I'm optimistic that we'll get there. We got great staff. We just need to get as one team. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments? A motion?
I will move to approve the 10-year CIP.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And we can adjourn.